Hello there, and welcome to this Black Seas Battle Report playthrough. So this is the first for the channel. I've not had Black Seas on the channel before, and to be honest, I've not been playing it very long either, but I think I've got enough of the rules down to be able to put something out there, put some content out. I've really enjoyed the game. I love Black Powder anyway, and this is kind of the C version of Black Powder, I guess. Rules aren't too difficult. I'm not going to play all of the advanced rules. There's kind of basic rules and advanced rules. I'm going to pick and choose a little bit with the ones I know and can remember. And as I get used to it, I guess I can introduce things as we go. This is scenario 3 from the main rulebook called Chance Encounter. And basically we've got two opposing fleets. We've got the French and the British, who basically just stumble into each other. As a bit of a shoot 'em up free-for-all on this open sea here. It's a 4x4 mat. And I'll go over and show you the fleets. Okay, so here are the combatant fleets for today. This is basically what you get in the starter set called Master and Commander, which is the starter set for Black Seas. So I've basically painted up the two fleets. We've got a British fleet and a French fleet, and they're basically identical. Now, if you've not played Black Seas before, I'm not really going to go into a lot of detail around the game itself in terms of the ships, etc. So I'm going to assume you've got some knowledge of what I'm talking about. But obviously, as the game goes through, I'll be going through the roles and what I'm doing. But for the French fleet, we've got 3 brigs. These are kind of small combat vessels. These cards basically give you the details. So you've got shows you what weaponry it's got. It's a small ship. It's got 20 ship points, which is basically its damage points. It's got a little sail there, says 5. So that's how fast it can sail for its rate of knots. So basically it's 5 inches. And it's got a break point of 7. So when the ship points get down to 7, you have to roll to see if the ship surrenders its colours and strikes its colours. So we've got 3 of those. They've got 2 heavy cannon on each side, on the broadside, and then a 5th rate frigate. Got 36 ship points on that. Again, 5 knots and a break of 12, and it's a medium-sized ship. And also that's got more guns. So it's got 2 heavy cannon, 1 light cannon, 1 carronade on each side, on each broadside, and also a chaser light cannon to its on the bow there. I'm getting all these nautical terms. I'm used to all the land terms. I've got to get used to all these nautical terms. And then basically the British fleet is exactly the same with the 3 brigs and the 5th rate frigate. I haven't given them names yet. I don't think they deserve names right now. Maybe if I get some bigger ships and some 3rd rates and maybe some 1st rates, I'll start to give some names. But at the moment it's brigs and frigates. Okay, so they're the 2 forces. Deployment's very straightforward. I'm going to have to roll off, and 1 fleet deploys on the south edge, and 1 on the north, and then we roll for the wind direction. So I'll do my deployment first, and then we'll come back for the wind direction. Okay, so the 2 fleets have deployed. The French deployed first, gone to the west side of the board here. This is south, so north, east, south and west. I've got to roll to determine which way the wind's blowing. So they're going to go in a easterly direction or a westerly direction. They're hoping for east, obviously, because they'll be getting the wind gauge. Basically, they get to go first. The British have deployed in the centre, so they're basically hedging their bets. So we need to roll off. So on a 1 to 3, it's going to be blowing from the west. It's going that way, which they don't want, or 4 to 6 is east. So let's see what it comes out as. It's a 5 and a 6, so it is going to blow from the east. So that gives the French a slight tactical advantage at the start here, because the way it works in Black Seas is as the wind's blowing this way, you take the ships in order of the wind gauge. In terms of victory points and victory, basically once it's a 9-turn game, or it'll end sooner if half the ships of 1 fleet have been sunk or struck their colours, and basically get 1 victory point for every point of damage you cause. 5 victory points for each brig that's either sunk or captured, 5 victory points for a frigate, ship points drop below half, and 10 victory points if a frigate is sunk or captured. And the winner is the player with the most points. Okay, so the wind is blowing from the east, but for each turn, we have to roll to see if the wind changes. So you need to roll 2 dice. Now on a roll of 4 to 10, the wind stays where it is. So let's see how we get on. So that's 9, so that's okay. So the wind's going to stay in that easterly direction. So we'll head over to turn 1, which will be the French first. Okay, so this brig's got the wind first. So this is going to be travelling forward. It's at battle sails, which basically gives him 2 moves. And it's got a rate of knots of 5 inches. So we'll move forward 5 inches, and we'll keep going forward. So just do second move up to there. Okay, so that's that one moved. This second brig is also going to move up on battle sails, so just move up in line with him. So I'll just put him to there, as will the third. They've got these little weight markers which you get for the game, which basically shows you either full sail, battle sails, or light sails, which is quite nice. I'll move them in a second. And then the frigate itself is going to go at battle sails as well, and probably again just make a couple of moves up the board for now. No need to turn as we stand. It's a bit of a longer ship, just going over there. So that's the French move done. I'll just move these weight markers in a second. So I'll move over to that brig there, which is going to be for the British. Okay, so there's the British fleet's turn. Now, because the wind direction is coming this way, and the French are over this way, it's going to be very difficult for the British fleet to turn into the wind, because as you turn into the wind, you can basically become anchored. So they're going to have to try and keep manoeuvring and maybe tacking a little bit to try and manoeuvre a little bit. So the French have got a little bit of advantage at the start, and all we're going to do here is just mirror the French movement, really. So this brig's just going to move up its 2 moves on battle sails up to there, and these 2 brigs are going to just mirror those moves, and as will the frigate. So just a little bit of early manoeuvring for the British, just trying to match the French movement, get a bit closer. That's about it for this turn. So we'll head over to turn 2. Okay, so let's start turn 2. Let's see if the wind changes. So roll 2 dice. So the result's an 8, so it continues to blow easterly. So in terms of the order of events for this turn, because the wind is coming this way, it's going to be this brig in that order, and then over to the British turn as well. So, I'll come back for that movement. Okay, so the French wants to really try and keep, the French side want to keep that wind advantage if they can, because if you turn into the wind, you can get up to full sails and get more manoeuvrability. So again, just going to try and move these brigs up a couple of moves on battle sails. So just moving up 1 and then 2. But what I will do is just do a slight turn. You use this gauge basically, and you basically make a turn up to that. So just going to make a slight turn towards the British fleet that way, and then we'll do the same with this guy here. So he's got 5 up to there, and then sorry, he's the wrong side there. Sorry. So he's got 5 up to there, and then another 5 up to there, and then just a slight turn. So that should be the same for him. And then for the frigate, I think I'm going to be a bit more aggressive with the frigate. It's going to move up to there and get more of a turn. Try and bring some of these guns to bear. And then another 5, which is at battle sails as well, up to here. Again, another turn. And because the wind's going this way, he's actually turning into the wind. So this could be good for him. It's just going there. Now, he can't, now the way broadsides work, there's a line off the hull. So they're outside the broadside at the moment, but you're just manoeuvring into the wind to try and get across the front of the ships here. Okay, so we'll move up to the next British brig. Okay, so got some thoughts for the British movement. Again, I've got to be careful now, because the more I turn into the wind, then potentially we could become anchored if he keeps going. Now they're all at battle sails still, so he's going to stay at battle sails. Just make 1 move forward to there, and then he's going to make 1 turn using the gauge, and that does keep, the way this works, you use a yellow bit at the front, and as long as the wind is outside of that, then it's not hitting the front, it's still hitting the side. So 1 turn's okay, and then do second manoeuvring forward. Now these brigs haven't got any chaser guns at the front, so you can't do any shooting forwards. And I don't want to turn any further into the wind and have any danger of becoming anchored. So that's his move. Now, because this ship has already activated, you have got a rule called fire as she bears, which basically means if you've not activated and an enemy ship ends its move in one of your arcs of fire, you can fire as she bears. There is a penalty to shooting, but because that ship has already activated, it can't do that. So we'll go over to the next one because the wind's coming this way. So this is the next brig to activate. So we're going to do a similar move for this guy. Just move it one, and we'll do one full turn like that, and then do a second move heading this way. Because brigs have only got broadsides, I need to try and get them to kind of at least try and get some manoeuvring up towards the frigate. And then for this brig, she's going to make 2 moves forward on battle sails. So 1 and 2. And the frigate will do the same. So again, just 1 to there, and second one to there. Okay, so that's the end of the moves for the British. So that's the end of the turn. So just have a quick overview of where we are from this height. So as you can see the angle here, so the French fleet is starting to turn in towards the wind, coming up on the British flank here. This frigate's coming across the front. So the British are trying to see if they can split the fleet a little bit to counter this. Okay, so moving over to turn 3. Okay, so let's roll for wind direction. So again, 2d6. And that is a 3. That is actually a change. So winds of change. Move the arrow on the wind rose 1 step clockwise. So that is going to move to this direction here. So it's now blowing a kind of a southeasterly, kind of southeasterly direction here. So I'll do that change and then I'll come back. Okay, so with that wind direction change, that does give us slight more advantage to the British, well not advantage to the British, but it helps the British out because the wind is now coming from this direction here. So basically if I use this as a kind of a guide, the wind is now kind of coming in that direction. So it's more into their sides now, which is going to help them out. And also from a weather gauge perspective, it's going to change the order of play. So this brig's going to be first, the French. Then we've got the second French brig. And then we've got a bit of a tie between the French and the British brig there, so I'll need to roll off for that. Then we've got the British brig, that brig, the British frigate, I think. No, it might be the French frigate first and then the British frigate. So just change the order of play a little bit, which might be interesting. So I'll crack on with the turn on that basis. Okay, so start with this French brig. It's going to move, it's staying on battle sails, so it's the maximum it can do. You've got the wind's now coming from this direction, so it's got to keep going in that, it's got to keep coming around there, which does suit the French as well, so it's not really a disadvantage for them, that change in the weather. So it's going to make its first move up to there, and then just going to make a slight adjustment. I don't need that for that, just to move it to there. Again, just to get parallel with this movement from the British brig there, and then make its second move up to that point there. And again, I'm just going to see if I can manoeuvre that back this way a bit and get a broadside. Yeah, I can manoeuvre there. Just got to be careful with this weather gauge here. So this is coming this way, so it should be okay. And I'm going to be able to get a broadside on there. So we'll come back for some shooting on that brig. Okay, so as you can see, the brig has opened up with its broadside, the French brig, against this one here, the British brig. Now, the way this works is it's got two, you get 2 D10s, so we use D10s in Black Seas, and blue dice for large cannon. So it's 2, so you get one per cannon. Each of these does 2 damage towards the ship points. And there's basically a number of pluses and minuses based on how it's positioned. You need to get a base roll of 5 to hit, so 5 or less to hit. But because it's shooting at a small target, this ship is small by the SDA, it's -1 to that. So this needs 4 or less on these 2 dice for each dice to score a hit. So we'll roll them now. So there we go, so we've got a 4, so that's 1 hit, and a 2, so that's another hit, so that's really good. So that is 4 damage. If you roll a 1, you also get critical damage, and there's another chart to roll on. But for that, that's 4 damage on that brig, so that's a good start for the French. Okay, so that was its first manoeuvre. Now, they can fire as she bears, but because of the size of the ship, there's quite a penalty on that, so not going to do that because you get an extra penalty for firing as she bears. So it starts to bring your hit target down towards 2, which I think is going to be quite difficult. So not going to do that, but it's got 1 more move to make for battle sails. Correction on that, it already made the 2 moves, so that's the end of its turn, so that's now activated. So in terms of the weather gauge, it was this brig next, this French brig, so we'll manoeuvre that one now. It's going to follow a very similar trajectory to its friend over there, so it's going to make 1 manoeuvre to there, and then make a second manoeuvre up into this position here. So just move that up to there, and then it's going to just turn slightly to get the broad side onto there. So we'll come back for some more shooting. So once again, the brig's got 2 large cannon, which is 2 blue dice. Now you do get a bonus for being in close range or point blank range. That's within 3 inches, so it is outside of that. So this is still going to be basically the same as before, so 4s to hit. So a 5 and a 4, so just another 2 damage onto that brig. Now with this weather gauge, if you remember, those 2 were tied, so I'm just going to roll off to see who goes first on that and come back. Okay, so I did do that again. I just kind of looked at where the weather was coming in, and actually this brig does catch the stern of this brig, this British brig first. So I'm going to give it to the British for this turn, and then it will be this French brig afterwards. So we'll activate this this brig here. Is that battle sails? Now the wind has changed to his advantage, so now he doesn't have to worry too much about turning this direction because the wind changed this way, so he can manoeuvre a little bit more this way if he wants to. But for the purpose of what we want to do, we'll see if I can get the brig up to this behind this frigate, because it's got no guns on the side here, so I might be able to get some shooting down the stern there, which could be good. So it's going to make one manoeuvre this way on battle sails, and then do a turn. Like that. And that takes him out of the potential for a fire as she bears from this French frigate as well. And also it's not in this guy's line of sight either. And then manoeuvre across the back of the frigate. Now where he ends up is here, which is perfect. Couldn't have planned it better, to be honest. So he is now what's called crossing the T, which means I can get a bonus for raking fire. So this is quite devastating for ships of the age, basically firing down either the stern or from the bow end. It's more deadly from the stern. And he is within point blank range, so you get some bonuses for your damage as well. So it's going to come back and do some shooting. Okay, so as you see, this British brig is right up the stern, to coin a phrase, of the French there. So he's in point blank range, firing his 2 large cannon. Now, because we're in point blank range, you get +2, so that 5 becomes a 7. So these 2 dice need 7s or less, and it's triple damage. This will be 6 damage per hit, which is could be quite deadly. So here we go. So that is a 7 and a 5. So that is 2 hits. So that is a total of 12 damage onto that frigate. So nasty, ouch. Okay, so that's the end of that activation there. So we'll move over to this French brig here. Okay, so this French brig is going to stay at battle sails. It can make its first move up to here, and then make a full turn this way. And then it's going to make a secondary move up this way here to here, and then do another turn, but this time I'm going to go that way. No, I can't actually. I'm going to try that way. Yeah, I can do that actually. Yes, so they're going to go that way, and again I'm going to be crossing the T of this now, so I'm going to get a bit of revenge for his pal over here. So this brig is going to has turned, and we'll now do a shot down the stern of the brig here. Now it's not at close range, but it's still going to get double damage for raking fire down the stern. So we'll come back for the shooting. Okay, as you can see, it's firing down the stern there. Now, because it's not within close range, we start at 5s to hit, and again, because it's a small target, it's down to 4s. So we need as many hits as we can here, get some revenge back on the British. So 1-4, so that is 1 hit, so that is 4 damage against that brig. Okay, so that's the end of that activation. So I'll just check the weather gauge and see which one's next. Okay, so it's this British brig here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down to light sails, just for one manoeuvre. Because of where the wind direction has changed, this brig can start to move a little bit more this way. So it's going to make its one move forward. So move up to here. And then if I can position him, if I can turn, no, I was going to see if I could try and get 2 broadsides off, but I don't think I can do it. So just going to stay where he is there and at least get a decent broadside onto this brig here, and which is within point blank range. So I'll come back and do that shooting. Okay, so in terms of the shooting, it's again 5 base, but because we're in point blank, that's +2, so it becomes 7. Because firing at a small ship, that becomes 6. So I need 6s or less on the 2 large cannon. So that is a 7, so that's a miss, and a 5, so that is 2 damage onto that brig. Okay, so so that's the end of that activation, and the next one will be the French frigate. Actually, correction again. So I just did a look at where the wind was coming, and actually, if you look from here, you can see that this bow, the stern here of the this brig is actually first. So again, this British ship gets to activate first. It's a lot easier in this game when the wind's just coming horizontally. So when it's diagonally, it's a little bit more difficult to look at. But having really looked at it, it is this British brig. So that wind direction has really favoured the British, or helped the British at least anyway. So, so it's going to stay at battle sails. So we're going to make first manoeuvre forward here to there, and then this crossing the T, you can fire as she bears, so it could cross the T and fire as she bears, but there is a -2 on those shots, and I just think it needs to be more effective than that. So what I'm just going to do is just turn in that direction, because again the wind's kind of helping me out by coming that way, and then make it second manoeuvre to here, and then just turn slightly there, because I think full one. Well, actually no. Yes, I'm just outside of crossing the T there, so I'm just going to end there and just get basically 2 shots across at that frigate. It's just outside point blank range. But back to the shooting. Okay, so this brig's going to shoot at the French frigate, which is quite heavily damaged already. So there's no modifiers, so it's just going to be 5s or less on its 2 large cannon. Oh, okay, so that is 2 hits. So that is 4 damage plus a critical hit. So let me just roll for that. Let's see what happens to it. That's a 4. So that's a crew hit, which basically means if until the next activation, the ship will automatically fail any skills tests. So it's not potentially a huge problem for it, but that's a crew hit on that. So I'll put a marker down, and also another 4 damage. Okay, so that's the end of that activation. It definitely is now the French frigate, so we'll come back for that. Okay, so there's a potential problem here for the frigate and for this brig, because it's going to be at battle sails, but whatever happens, it's got to make its manoeuvre and it will collide with this brig. So in those circumstances, you have to make a skills test. Now, these automatically fail their next skills test. So the brig has got to make its skills test, or they're going to collide. Now it's against their experience. They're both all these are regular crews, by the way. So for skills test, you need a 5+ to make a skills test. Now, because it's a collision, you get +1. So this brig needs to make a 4+ roll on a d6. Otherwise, they're going to collide and there's going to be some damage. So let's see what's happened. It's a 5, so that's good. So they managed to avoid each other. So what I need to do now is just make that manoeuvre, and you need to kind of avoid that ship. So I'll do that off camera and then I'll come back. Okay, so just finishes that manoeuvre. So it just misses the bow of the that brig there. But now also it's going to fire, because it can still fire. So it's going to do a point blank broadside against that brig. So this could be interesting. So because it's point blank, you get +2, so that becomes 7s or less. But because it's again a small ship, it's going to be 6s. So we've got the blue dice is the large cannon, the 2 red dice are the light cannon, and the black one is a carronade. So the carronade does 3 damage, which is really nice, and the light cannon do 1, and the heavy 2. So we need 6s or less. Okay, so the carronade misses, which is a shame. And then we've got 2 hits from the large cannon, so that's 4 damage. And then we've got 2 misses from the light cannon. So it's just 4 damage onto that brig. And then it's got its second manoeuvre to do as well, so I'll come back for that. Okay, so the second manoeuvre, because it was a battle sails, is going to be to here. And then again, just going to make a bit of a turn into the wind this way, just to get a broadside onto this British frigate here. So I'll just mark the fact that it's fired from that side. And this is a good thing about the frigates, they've got gun positions at the front and both sides, both broadsides. So we'll be able to fire into there. Just going to double check the range. So it's just outside of point blank, but we'll come back for the shooting. Okay, so again, broadside, we've got the 2 large, 2 small, light, and 1 carronade. This time's going to be hitting on 5s or less. Okay, so the carronade does hit, so that is 3 damage. We've got a 2 damage and a critical hit there, and we've also got 1 damage from there. So it's 3, 4, 6 damage onto that British frigate, and also a critical hit. So just roll for that. Just get a dice. That's 2, so that is a gun deck hit. So a gun position has been damaged. Now, fortunately for the British, that's going to be the front chaser here, but so I'll mark that up. So that's the end of the activation for that French frigate. So we've just got the British one to go. Now, it's not this French frigate's day actually, because now these are activating. I'll just mark that up activated. They're actually on a collision course with this frigate as well. So this frigate's really getting in the way here. So, and again, because it's got the crew hit, although let me just check when that comes off. Okay, no, I can remove that now because it's at the end of the next activation. So that did activate, so that's gone. So that's fine. So both ships can make it a roll, and again, I need 4s or more. This time I can roll 2 dice, 1 for each ship. But it didn't make it, so it will collide. Okay, so we need to work we need to work this out, so I'll come back for that. This works. In the book, there's a chart here, which I'll try and cover. And basically you have to look at the damage. So the way it works is because they're 2 medium ships, so it's a medium against a medium, they both take 10 damage, which is massive. So, so unfortunately for the French frigate, that will take it below its break value, because it's currently on 20 ship points left, so that brings it down to 10. It's got a break of 12, so it'll have to make a skills test. So luckily that crew hit's gone, otherwise it will strike its colours. And this frigate will take 10, but it's still above its break. So I've applied that damage, so when I've finished that, the manoeuvre will come past here and we'll end up here. But I need to do this roll first. So let's see if they strike the colours. Now, because they're a regular crew, they need a 5 or a 6, otherwise they're going to strike their colours. This could be a bad blow for a bitter blow for the French. It is. So that ship surrenders. So basically the British frigate smashes into it, knocks the crew over. They think, I've had enough of this, I've been battered by various cannon shot. So here you are, here are the keys to my frigate, to the British commander. Okay, so let me tidy all that up and I'll come back. Okay, so that's the end of, well, it's got, because it was at battle sails, it's got to make 1 more move, but I've just tidied it up. I've put this little marker on here to show that ship has struck its colours. So I just need to make this one last manoeuvre forward for the British frigate. It's also got a quarter deck hit marker now because of that collision, so that will affect it in the next activation, and it's just going to move to there. Also, when you've collided, you can't actually fire or grapple to try and board, because obviously if you board you can capture ships. So that's just going to end up there. Okay, so that's the end of that turn. So let me just come back for a quick wrap up of that. Okay, so that's the state of play as we see it. So the French have, the British have got first blood on the French really. So that frigate has now struck its colours and become anchored. So I'll remove that weight marker in a second. This British frigate's got it's got a quarter deck hit and a gun deck hit. So the next activation will affect its ability to manoeuvre and fire. But in terms of the rest of the brigs, the French have still got their 3 brigs active, so still chance to do something in this game. Just looking over where we are with damage. So in terms of the French brigs, just got 2 damage on this one here, so just light damage on that 1 brig there. These are both still full. As you can see, the French frigate has struck its colours. And the British, so this brig here is down to 16. Both of these are, again, well, this one's down to 10, so that brig took a bit of damage. So it's down to, almost down to its break point there. And then the frigate is now down, I didn't move this actually, but it's down to 20 damage. So again, getting close to its break point. Okay, so we're going to move over to turn 4. So let's see what happens to the wind. Let's see if it changes again. 2. I think that does do something. Let me just double check. But I think that means, so I haven't got my book to hand. I think that means there's a change to the knots of the sea. I'll just double check. Yeah, so becalmed. So reduce the rate of knots for all ships by 2 for this turn only. So these are all going to be moving at 3 inches. So that will definitely hinder any plans they had. Okay, so we'll come back for turn 4. In terms of the weather gauge order on turn 4, so the wind's still blowing towards the southeast. So it's coming across this way. So we've got these 3 French brigs picking up first. Then we're going to hit the British brigs. Obviously that's struck its colours. And then the frigate there. So, okay, so we'll move over to the first activation, which will be this brig here. Okay, so got to remember that we've got a -2 for the wind. So it's only moving 3 instead of 5. Just going to make its first move to here. And just want to try and bring it more into the wind because it's just about, the wind's coming from this direction here, so it's just about missing the front here. So, so just avoiding going to be anchored. So give it a good full turn here, just to move it out more into the wind, and then move the second 3-inch move to there, and then again going to turn more into the wind this way. Well, I've got to be careful, haven't we, with that brig, sorry. Yeah, because I've got its sister ship here, because it's only moving 3. I've got to be careful here. So yeah, it's going to stay in that angle there because I was concerned about that one banging into it and colliding. So, okay, so that's the end of that manoeuvre. So we'll come across to this one. Okay, so similar. So we've got a 3-inch move. So just gonna move it up to here. Yeah. So if I'd done another, if I'd turned that ship there, this would not have cleared it. So at least with that being there, this one will be able to clear its sister ship like that, and then do its second 3-inch move up to there, and then we'll do another turn just to bring it across. Can I get some shooting in? Probably if I aim it there, I think I could be able to get a broadside across onto that ship, but it's still avoiding this ship here. So yes, I've got a bit of shooting to do, so I'll come back for that. So this brig's shooting across, and it's shooting at a small target, so it's going to be down to a 4 with 2 large cannon, so 4s or less. No, 2 8s, so no hits there. Okay, so that's the end of that activation. So move across to the next French brig for activation. Right, so this brig here, it can basically, because we're going to be getting close to point blank range of this British brig, what it's going to do is move 3 inches to there. In fact, no, I don't need to as far as you go, because obviously it's not 5, so that's the end of its first move. So it can actually fire directly into the that British brig at point blank range, but there's no modifiers because I'm not firing as I go. Okay, so I'll just come back and do that. Okay, so 5s become 7s because we're at point blank range, but then -1 again because it's small. So again, 6s or less. That's 1 hit, that's 2 damage, and it's also critical damage. So let's see what that does. That's a 4, so that is a crew hit. Okay, so I'll do 2 damage on that and a crew hit. Now, I'm just thinking whether that does fire as you go now, because you can do, it's not activated, and you can fire as you go, and it will be in range. So I might do that because although it's going to be a negative, we're also going to get a positive for being in close range. So I'm just going to quick check the rules and I'll do that. Yes, that's all good. So it can fire as she bears, not fire as she goes, fire as she bears. You have to put black cotton wool down apparently to indicate that it's firing as a turn, I guess. So it's going to be +2 because it's in point blank range, so 7s, but then -2 because firing as she bears, and then also another -1 because of it being a small target, so back to 4s. Okay, so 2 large cannon, 4s or less. Well, that was worth doing. So we've got a 4 and a 1, so that's 4 damage and a critical hit. So let's see what happens with that one. So that's a 2, so that's a gun deck hit. So that gun deck's been damaged now. So I'll just apply that and come back. Okay, so that's the end of that firing against your bears. So we've got a crew hit on this one and a gun deck hit on this one. That was only one move, so it's got one further move because it was at battle sails. So we'll just do that. So it's got another 3 inch move to come. So we'll just move that up to there. Just move that smoke, and obviously this gun deck. So this one's effective for next turn. Okay, so that's the end of that activation. So I think we are now moving across to this ship as next, so we'll come back for that. Yes, we're coming back. So it's the next activation is this British brig. Now again, because of the 3 inch move, I've got to be very careful here about where it's going to end up. So I might end up having to do a couple of manoeuvres here. Luckily, where the wind's coming, I can turn a bit that way. So it's at battle sails. So let's do its first manoeuvre to here. Move that way for a second. And then it can just get past there. So it's going to do its second manoeuvre to there. But I will then turn, because I want to be heading kind of, we need to be coming back round a little bit now. So just going to move that to there. Okay, so I'm going to change that to white, and that crew hit will come off as well because we've just activated. Okay, so the next ship to activate is this British brig, so I'll come back for that. Okay, this is pretty straightforward manoeuvring here, so if I knock it, so just going to do its first move forward 3, and then make a turn to there, and then do its second manoeuvre this way to there, and then again going to be turning this way here. I don't think I've got a shot across there. I'm just going to check the range, but I think it might be able to get a broadside off against that French brig there, so just come back for that. Yes, so the heavy cannon, I keep calling it large cannon, but I think they're technically heavy cannon. I've got a range of 20 inches, so it's just, I think it's just on 12, but there will be a modifier because it's over 10, so it's going to be -2 for being over 10 inches, and also -1 for being a small target, so it's going to be -3. So we'll need 2s, but it's worth a shot because why not? No, missed. Okay, so that's the end of that activation. So moving across to this brig here. Again, pretty straightforward. This is a battle sail, so it's just going to make its first manoeuvre to here. And then it's going to make its turn this way. And then do its second manoeuvre here. And again do another turn. That way there. Okay, so the last one is going to be the frigate. So scratch that. I think because although this has struck its colours, this French frigate, I was just re-looking at the points for the game, and you get extra points for capturing or sinking the frigate. Now, I might be able to capture it by boarding it, but I can still sink it and get the same point. So it might as well have a blast while it's there. It's within 10 inch range, so basically I'm hitting on 5s. 2 heavy cannon, so 5s or less. So there we go, there's 4 damage. It only had 10 left, you see, so I need to score 10 points of damage, I can sink it. So that's another 4, so it's down to 6. Okay, so now we move over to this frigate. Okay, now because it's got a quarter deck hit, if I want to change direction or level of sails, I've got to make a skills test. Now I want to potentially come round, so I am going to try the skills test. So they're again regular crew, so I need a 5 or a 6. Oh, which I make. Okay, so there we go. So that negates that issue. So now I can manoeuvre as I need to. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so still at battle sails. So just going to make its first move this way here. Sorry, yeah, turn it right around. So it's down to 3. And then just turn this way. And then do its second. Yeah, we'll keep going this way. Down to here. And then we're going to make a turn. Hopefully, yeah, get another broadside off. Okay, so we'll come back for that broadside. The good news is that the carronade is also in range as well, so we're going to get the full broadside, so 2 heavy, 2 light, and the carronade. Just needing 5s to, yeah, just needing 5s or less. So we've got 1 hit from the light cannons, that's 1 damage. We got a hit from the heavy cannons, that's 2 damage, that's 3. Ah, but the carronade missed, unfortunately. But that's another 3 damage, so it's almost sunk. Okay, so that's the end of that activation. So I'll just do an end of turn wrap up. Okay, so a bit of a top-down view of how things are. So interestingly, the wind is still coming this direction. So this British fleet, it's kind of in a little bit of no man's land now because it needs to start manoeuvring back around. But obviously, as it starts coming around this way, it's going to come back into the wind. Whereas the French actually have got the high area, so they're going to have the wind behind them coming down this way. So French aren't out of this yet. This frigate, in some respects, is going the wrong way because it's going to be heading towards the wind as well. So again, that frigate's a little bit out of position at the moment. But obviously, that French frigate still struck its colours. In terms of damage-wise, so we've got these are the French brigs. So there's one down to 14 now, one's still at 20, one's still at 20. The frigate's down to 3 ship points that could sink. And in terms of the British brigs, we've got one at 16, one at 18, and one at 10, sorry. And then the frigate's at still at 20. So, yep, still plenty to play for. So over to turn 5. So let's quickly see if the weather changes. It's been very fickle so far. Okay, it changes again. Let me just check what that does. I didn't get my page prepared again. So let me just double check what happens to the wind. So double 12, wind swell. So we're adding 1 to the rate of knots for all ships this turn. Okay, that's fairly positive. So we're going to go from 5s up to 6s. Okay, so we're heading over to turn 5. So once again, the wind gauge order is actually favouring the French here because it's coming this way. So again, these 3 French brigs are going to get hit first, then we get into the British ships here. So, okay, so we'll come over to this brig here. Okay, so it's battle sails. So it's got a 6-inch move now because of the change of the wind. So it's going to move forward 6, and then we need to really start coming round and try and get up at these British ships. So again, another 6 to here. Looking to fire out for this one. So we might as well do this one as we're here as well. So again, it's a 6. So just bring that up to here. And just narrowly avoiding its sister ship. So I'm just going to come a bit more round into the wind this way. And then, in fact, that's going to be good for next turn. That might actually be able to get to full sails next turn. And up to there. Okay, so that's those 2 brigs done. So we'll come back for that one. Yeah, I forgot to do a turn for that ship at the end. So I did turn this one just slightly to, again, that's going to be in the wind for next turn. So this has got a gun deck hit, so no shifting this way, which is a bit of a shame. So it's just going to move it 6. It's still at battle sail, so it's 6 to there. And again, this one's going to start manoeuvring round to get towards the British. That way, and then another 6 this way, down to here. And can it get a shot off there actually? Yeah, I'm going to just turn slightly. You can get a full broadside onto. Oh no, it can't shoot, can it? Because of that gun deck hit. That's a shame. Okay, we'll just manoeuvre it back a little bit more then. Okay, so that's the end of those brigs. So we'll come across to the British one. Okay, so this brig here is going to make its manoeuvres. So again, to battle sails. So it's going to make its first move to there on 6, and then a quick turn this way. Got no targets, so we're going to make another move down to here, and it's actually the wind there, but just going to make it turn and go that way. So this brig's now going to start to swing around. So you can see what's happening is the French are coming this way, the British are coming this way, so we should see some action soon. Okay, so over to this one. And this brig's got to be mindful of its sister ships here, so its first manoeuvre takes it into this gap here. So it does need to then just take a slight turn. I'll just do it like that actually, just to avoid the frigate. So just move that to there, and then it's going to do a full turn backwards. Okay, just so we're coming across here for the next turn. Okay, and then we've got this final brig. So another potential collision issue here. So this is definitely going to go into there with that 6-inch move. So again, both need to roll against their skill tests with a +1. So we need 4, 5 or 6 on either of these dice. Just about. So they do avoid. So I'll do that manoeuvre and I'll come back. Okay, so this brig has just managed to come past the frigate there. And also the good news is it's now ended up with a broadside opportunity against that brig there. So it is within 10 inches. So the only modifier is the fact it's firing at a small ship. So again, 2 heavy cannon, hitting 4s or less. So 1 hit, so that's 2 damage, and also it's a critical hit. So let's see what that does. that is a 6. So it says fire on board. So the shot has sparked a fire on board. Place a piece of fiery cotton wool on the damaged ship to prevent it to never blaze. And I've got to see ships on fire for the effects of the critical damage. So I'll do that. I'll just come back. So that's the result of that there. So that ship is now, that brig's now on fire. What it does say in the book is that you immediately have to roll D3 damage for a small ship and add that on. So let's do D3. So that becomes a 2. So 1 and 2 is 1. So that's another 2 damage onto that ship. And then basically at the end of every subsequent activation, the crew of the ship can attempt to extinguish the flames by making a skills test. And then if successful, it's not on fire, but if it fails, you get further damage going through, etc. So yeah, so there we go. So I'll add that damage and then we'll just do the frigate. Okay, so the frigate's going to activate, and again it's at battle sails. Now, interestingly, the way the rules are written, you test the wind direction at the start of its activation. At the moment, the wind is still coming to its side, but it is going to be manoeuvring into the wind, but it doesn't matter, it seems to be from the rules, it's how the wind is at the start of your activation. So as long as I can get some manoeuvring and get out of the wind, back into the wind, that should be fine. So again, we've got a 6-inch move forward first. So let's do that. Oops. To here, and then it's going to make a turn. And this takes it kind of into the wind. But rules as written, that's okay. So I'll just move that forward. It's second activation, sorry, maneuver for 6 inches, and then I'm going to put it so it's basically the wind is then coming back into its side. So if I put that there, the wind is actually coming from that direction, so that should be okay. Okay, so that's the end of the turn, so I'll do a quick end of turn summary. Turn 5, so as you can see, we've now got the British brigs coming round this way and the French brigs coming this way. So there's going to be some action soon, I think, as these start to come together. Obviously this one's on fire, and that frigate's actually now moving into a potentially dangerous position to split the French as we go forward. In terms of the damage, so interesting now, this one is down to 10. This is the one that's on fire. This is still on 20, and this one's still on 20. So this brig's been taking most of the damage. Closest break, this one's now obviously struck its colours. And for the British, still as we were last turn. Okay, so let's roll for the wind direction for turn 6. And 8, so it's going to stay in that southeast position. So over to turn 6. Okay, so in terms of the weather gauge, it's going to be coming across this way. So it's going to pick up the 2 French brigs first. Then it's going to pick up the British frigate, then the French brig, then we've got the British brigs as well. Okay, so we'll move over to the first activation, which will be the French over there. Okay, so both of these French brigs have got the wind directly behind them now, so they can go up to full sails, which I think I'm going to do because I want to try and get them as quickly as I can round to try and strike at these brigs and try and keep away from the frigate here. So activating this one first, so it's going to do its first move. So it's 5 inches up to there. Just a little turn like that, and then another 5 inches to there, and then again another 5 inches to there, and then just to maybe I'm going to keep the wind behind them so that basically we can potentially keep the full sails for the next turn as well. And again, same for this guy here. So this ship here is just going to move forward 5, and then another move to here, and its final move at full sails will be to here. And I think with the right positioning, in fact we're already on it, should be able to get a broadside across at that brig. So we'll come back for that shooting. Okay, so the brig's here, it's going to be shooting across at this one. Now, because it's kind of full sails, it does get a -2 penalty, so because obviously it's travelling faster, and it's still shooting at a small target, so it's going to be -3, so it's going to be 2s or less on 2 heavy cannon rolls, but we'll see how we get on. Oh, we do get one, so 1 hit, and it's also a critical hit, that was a 1. So I just need to roll for the critical hit as well, so that's 2 damage plus this. 6, so they're on fire, so there's another ship on fire. Well, that's the first British ship on fire anyway, so I'll just mark that up and come back. Okay, so this British brig is now on fire, so we need to roll D3 damage for the fire. So it's extra 3 points of damage. Okay, so I'll apply that to the ship, and that's the end of this brig's activation. So we're going to be coming over to the British frigate now. Okay, so the frigate is just out of the wind, as in heading into the wind, so it's still got battle sails. So it's going to make its first manoeuvre up this far here. Then we'll do a turn, a full turn this way. And for its second manoeuvre, we'll just move up to here. And then it's just going to manoeuvre back this way a little bit, just to try and get a broadside. Which it can do. So it's going to be hitting, that's going for that brig that's on fire. So we'll come back for that shooting. Okay, so the British frigate's going to be firing at the burning French brig. Now this could end the game because the French frigate's already struck its colours. This has got 10 points of ship points left. So if the frigate scores 4 damage, minimum 4 damage on this, it'll bring it below its break value. And it'll have to roll to see if it strikes its colours. And if it did, that would end, well, within the game. I'd have to add up the points to see who's won, but that would be the end of the game. So, because it's a small ship, they're hitting on 4s. So we've got a full broadside. So again, heavy cannon, light cannon, and the carronade, which is in range. Okay, so we've got 2 hits from the light cannon. So that's 2 points of damage. So was it enough to bring it below its break value? But that's 2 points of damage. So that's the end of the activation for the frigate. So the next one to activate will be the fire ship. So let's see what happens there. Okay, so the first thing the ship needs to do, is, because it's going to activate, is to see if you can put the fire out. Now you can, where the rules state, you have to roll a skill test, otherwise you get another D3 points of damage. If you roll a 1, a natural roll of a 1, it actually, the fire reaches the ship's magazine and the whole thing blows up, which would be interesting. You can, though, you can choose to apply a 2+ modifier to the skills test. And if you do, you can then you avoid the explosion, but also you can't change your level of sail, you can't change direction, and you can't shoot. Now, based on the fact that the French might lose if that blows up, I think we'll go for the +2. So we need a 3 or more on a roll of a D6 to avoid blowing, to avoid any more damage. Which it makes. It would have made it anyway. That's fine. So we'll do it. So it's activated now. It's put the fire out, which is good news. And then I'll do its activation. Okay, so I did that off camera. So it's just moved forward 2 moves to there. So that's the end of that brig's activation, but it's no longer on fire. So that's good news for the French. So we're over to this British brig over here. Okay, so this brig here, it should be quite straightforward. Just going to move forward. It's on battle sails anyway, so move forward 1. Just do a slight turn. And then the second move this way, just to try and close on the French. Okay, the next one on the weather gauge is the ship that's on fire, so we'll come back for that. Okay, so we're going to roll to see if it puts the fire out again, similar to the French brig. So we'll go for the +2 modifier because it's still got some room to manoeuvre. So let's see if we get that. So again, a 3+. No, that's a further D3 points of damage onto that brig. Just do that next. So that is 2 points of damage. So I'll apply that and then we'll do its activation. So the rules are a bit ambiguous, but basically it does state that if you take the modifier, which I did do, you can only, you can't make any direction changes or level of sail. But it doesn't suggest that if you've either put the fire out or not. So I'm going to assume you can't because I took the modifier, even though it didn't pass. So just going to make 2 moves forward because it's on battle sails. So 1 to there and 1 to there. So that's the end of that activation. So we're over to the next British brig. Okay, so this is the last activation for this turn. So it's at battle sails. So this British brig is going to see if we can get up here, because this is very close to being striking its colours. So we're going to see if we can get up there. So we've got 2 moves. So 1 move to here, then full turn to here. Now we've got no chaser guns, so we're going to have to try and get up and turn and see if we can get a shot on, which I should be able to do. Yep, so I'm going to be able to get to there, and then again do a full turn to here, and that should give me a broad nose. Yeah, it's going to be tight. I'll measure this and come back. Okay, so at the end of turn 6, what's the state of play? Well, I still think the British have got the advantage. This brig here, this French brig, is very close to striking its colours. Although to be fair, this one is not far off as well. Sorry, this one here, the one that's on fire. So this one's also not far off. But obviously the French have already lost that frigate. So let's go to turn 7. Just see if the wind changes direction. 7, no, so it stays in that southeast direction. So over to turn 7. Okay, so in terms of the weather gauge, so it's going to be the British frigate first. Then we've got the 2 well, the 3 French brigs, then we go to the British brigs. That's the direction of the plate for this turn. So over for the British frigate. So the frigate's going to stay at battle sails. So it's going to move up just its 5 inches here to there, and then we'll do a turn. To there. Now, I think it can get some shots off, but I think what I'm going to do a further move this way to just try and get, it needs to be swinging around against these brigs. It's too far, just to there. And again, just bring in this turn to there, just to get that broadside. Now, I think I can cross the T there as well. I can indeed. So actually, I'm going to stay there, just across the T. Okay, so they're going to do some shooting, and we'll come back for that. Okay, so this might be quite tough because this brig did move at full sails, so that is another -1 penalty, and it's still a small ship. So we're going to need 3s or less on the, again, blue's heavy, light, and the black is the carronade. Okay, so that is just 1 hit from the heavy cannon, so that's going to be 2 damage onto that brig. It's got its full ship point, so it's going to be down to 18 after that. So that's its first hit, and the end of that activation. Yes, it's this brig here, it's going to activate. Now it is at full sails, and it can stay at full sails still with the angle of the wind. So we're trying to get round here for attack, so we'll keep it full sails. So that's another move to here, 5. Do a slight turn, and then a second move of 5 to here. And then a turn this way. And then we'll do another 5 here. I'm hoping I'm now in broadside range, which I am. So I'll come back for some shooting here. Okay, so the French brig here is going to shoot across at this ship on fire. Now, because it's at full sails, it does get another negative, so -2. So being a small ship, there's going to be -3. So it's going to be quite tough. This is going to be, so it's going to have to be 2s or less on the 2 heavy cannon. But we do get 1, so that's another 2 damage onto that ship. Okay, so let's finish that activation of them, and on to the next brig here. Okay, the French are really going to gang up on these brigs now. So this one's activating next. I'm just going to see if we can drop it to battle sails. It can drop 1 level. It's at full sails at the moment, so drop to battle sails and try and thread between the 2 brigs here to get the shots here, because this is now down to its break point. It's at 7 ship points left, so 1 more damage, and this will be testing for striking its colours. So just do the first manoeuvre. So that's going to come up to this point here, and then we'll keep it on that trajectory, and it'll just move through to here. So we'll just move that out of the way. It's going to move to there, and again in perfect position for a broadside, and also will be in close range. So we'll come back for some shooting. Okay, as this moved at battle sails, the only modifiers are point blank range, which is +2, so makes it a 7 to hit. Because it's a small vessel, back to it's -1, so 6s. Again, 2 heavy cannon, 6s or less. Any 6s here, really. Yeah, so that's two hits, that's 4 damage. So it's going to be well below its break value, and also it's a critical hit. Let's just roll for that. 5, so extra damage to structure. The ship's hull takes another D3. So it's got 7 left. So if I roll a 5 or a 6, it's actually going to sink. So let's see what happens. Okay, so that ship sinks. So the British brig goes down with all hands on fire. So a bit of a harrowing end for that crew. Okay, so that was good news for the French. So we'll come back for the next activation, which I do believe is this final French brig here. Yes, so the final activation for the French is this brig here. So it's going to drop to light sails. So just 1 move. So I'm just trying to avoid going off the board. Just moving it forward to here, and then it's going to do a full turn. I'll get this in. It's about there, isn't it? So there we go. I think its broadside can fire a broadside here, but it will be it's only a partial in its sight, so there will be a modifier for that, but I'll come back for that. Yes, because it's only a partial target, in other words, I can't see more than half of the ship. With its broadside, it will be a -2 modifier, so plus a small ship, so -3. So we're going to need 2s or less to damage this British brig. Oh, we do get one, so we get 1, that's 2 damage, plus a critical hit, which is 4, which is a crew hit. Okay, so I'll apply those and we'll go to the next activation. Okay, so this brig really wants to try and take the glory of finishing this game. So this brig here, this French brig's down to 8 ship points, so it just needs another 2 to be below its break value. So yeah, really going to be targeting this one. So it's going to drop to light sails and just do 1 manoeuvre forward to here. Then it's going to do a full turn. Hopefully I can get a broadside, but I might have to target the nearest vessel. I'll just check the rules on that because it is in the broadside of that. So I can shoot here, but let me just come back and check the rules about whether you have to shoot the closest target. Yes, just checking the rules. So because they're a regular crew, they have to shoot at the closest target. So that's unfortunate. So they can't target this one. They're going to have to target this one here. Now because that moved at full sails, it's going to -1, plus it's a small vessel, -2. So we're going to need 3s or less with 2 heavy cannon. Nothing at all, so that's a shame. Okay, so then we'll move over to the next activation. Okay, so this British brig here is the final activation. Now that other one's sunk. So it's going to stay at battle sails and I'm going to see if we can try and swing round and get some shots off at this damaged French brig. So first move of 5, and then a full turn. And then moves 5 again. Up to there, and then a full turn. This should get some fire, yeah. So we can get a nice broadside onto that brig there. So we'll come back for the shooting. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if the British can do it. So we've got 2 heavy cannon. So we're needing 4s because it's a small vessel. So 4s or less. No, nothing again. So the French get off with it. Okay, so that's the end of the turn. I'll just come back for a quick wrap up. Okay, so this corner is getting very congested. So the French brigs have caused a bit of havoc down here this turn. The British shooting here from these brigs didn't do much. So yeah, it's a very tight game still. Obviously that brig's now sunk. So we'll come over to just have a quick check on where the damage is. So there's that brig there, the one that was on fire. So it's just got 1, it's on 8. So it needs to get to 7 before it's broken. These two are still fairly healthy. That's on 18, that's on 20. That one's now sunk. This one's still on 18, that's on 10, so that's pretty dangerous as well. And the frigate's fine. So let's roll for turn 8. And this is going to be for the weather. 6 is a fine, so it stays on that southeast. So we'll come back for turn 8. Okay, so in terms of turn 8 weather gauge, so it's going to come across this way. So we've got the British frigate first, then it's going to hit that British brig, then the French brig, then this British brig, French. So it's going to be a little bit staggered, but we'll start with the British brig over there. Okay, so this frigate's at battle sails still. We need to try and get it to swing around now towards the French. We're into the last couple of turns now. So it's going to make its first move to here, then swing round to there, and then the second move will be this way, up to that point there, and then again swing round to there. So, and it's now into the wind, so next turn should be able to get up to full sails if I need it. Okay, so that's activated, no shooting, so we'll move over. Okay, so it's a British brig next. It's at light sails, so I'm going to keep it at light sails, I want to keep it tight now. So it's just going to make its one move up to here, to there, and then I'm trying to get as much of a turn as possible. See if I can get some shooting, which I can. In fact, I'm crossing the T of this particular brig here, so we'll come back for that shooting. Okay, so shooting down the T. So because it's moved at full sails, it's a -1, and because it's small, it's -1. So it's going to be -2. So it's going to need 3s. We've got 2 heavy cannon dice, so 3s or less, and it's double damage. No score there. So again, British shooting wasn't great. So that's activated, so we'll move over to the next one. Okay, so it is this French brig here that was at full sails. Now, it can still manage full sails, but I'm going to drop it down just to one to battle sails to get 2 moves. So that hopefully can keep it on the board. So it's just one move to there, and a turn, and then its second move this way, down to there, and then again we'll swing it around to that way. And it might be able to, if I go to there, it should be able to get a shot off. If it's in range, yeah. So we'll try broadside across against that brig there. Yeah, heavy cannons have got a 20-inch range. So it is in range, but it is over 10 inches, so that's -2. Plus it's a small vessel, -1. So it's going to be -3, so 2s or less. So we have a long shot here, we'll see if we get on. No, no score there for the French either. So that one's activated, so we'll move across to the next. Okay, so for this brig's activation, I'm just thinking about the best tactic now for getting to maximum points, because we're almost at the end of the game. And actually you can get 10 points for either sinking or capturing this frigate. So I think I'm going to try and capture it. So it's at battle sails. So it's going to make one move forward. And then turn. Just like that. And then basically, its next move will be up to here, and because now that's within 3 inches of the frigate, it can make a grapple attempt. So I'll just come back to do that. Okay, so just slightly reposition the ship so it's got a broadside down the T, because the honourable thing will be to try and capture this frigate. But if I can't board, then I can do a shot and potentially sink it and get the same point. So you need a 5 or a 6 to grapple. No, so you have to rely on the cannons. So we are in point blank range. So we've got 2 heavy cannon dice, +2 for being at point blank, so I need 7s or less. And because I'm crossing the T and it's a bow rake, you get +1 to damage, and it's got 3 damage left. So just need one of these to hit. Oh dear, that crew needs flogging. So they missed from that range. I can't believe they missed. Okay, so that didn't work. Okay, so over to the next activation. Okay, so it's this brig here. It's just going to stay at battle sails and try and get around as far as we can. So first move to there and turn that way, and then move down to here. Okay, so that's the end of that activation, and we'll come to this one next. Okay, so this is going to move from light sails to battle sails, so 2 moves. So again, just move it forward 5, so it's going to be to there. Move that out of the way, and turn these, turn that way, and then another 5-inch move down to here, and then again turn. I might be able to get a broadside off against that brig there. I think it's going to be in range, but I'll double check and come back. Yeah, so it is within range of its heavy cannons, but it is over 10 inches, so it's going to be a -3 to the roll. So I need 2s or less. No, nothing there, so that's the end of the activation. I think that's the end of the turn, so I'll just come back for a summary. Okay, so all the French brigs are down the bottom here, and the 2 British brigs are kind of sailing away, just the frigate coming down. So I don't think a lot's going to happen in turn 9, which is the last turn of the game, but we'll give it a go anyway. So we just roll for the, so if the wind changes, you never know. That's a 4, no, that's going to stay where it is. So we'll come back for turn 9, the last turn of the game. Right, so this frigate, British frigate activates first. Now it's going to go to full sails because the wind's directly behind it now. Just going to see if we can get right down the board and get a chaser shot off at that brig that's on 1 off being broken. So we're going to full sails, so we're going to get a movement of 5 to begin with. Then we're just going to quick turn this way to head directly down. Then another 5 inches this way, and then another 5 inches to there. Okay, so I'll come back for some shooting. Okay, this literally is a long shot. There's only 1 cannon, and actually I don't think I'm going to be able to do it anyway because it's got only 2 damage to get it below its break. But anyway, we'll give it a go anyway. So we'll just see if we can get it damaged. So it's just 1 dice, but we're going to hitting on a 2 because of the long range. No, I missed anyway. Okay, so that's the end of that activation. So we'll go over to the next one. So this brig's activated next. We're going to see if we can try and sweep around and get a grapple, but I'm not sure it's at battle sails, so it's going to be forward 5. Then we're going to turn. And this is the fun. It's not going to be close enough, unfortunately. So it's just going to end up there, and then just do another turn there. But I'm going to give it a shot. We'll give it some shooting. You never know, it might be able to sink this thing. Right then, so I'll come back for some shooting. Okay, so it's 2 heavy cannon. It's just going to be 5s or less. So let's see how we get on. Oh, I saw another one there. So 3, so that does take 2 damage, so it's almost sunk. It's got 1 point of damage left. So that's been activated. So we've got the next brig to activate here, and we're just going to see if we can swing that round and do something similar. Right, come on, let's see if they can be heroes. So we're going to move up to battle sails. So we're going to make 2 moves, and then we'll hopefully be in range for a shot. So just move him up to there, and then swing round to that way. Actually, yeah. So and then another 5 that way to there, and we'll just. That should be all right. Just a little bit of a nudge there. There we go. So that's just the broadside ready to go. Okay, so we'll come back for some shooting. Right, this is the moment for the British crews to shine. So just need to get 1 point of damage. Now they are long over 10 inches, so it's going to be 3s or less. We just need one of these to be a 3 or less. Here we go. No, didn't do it again. So that's I think the last opportunity for the British to cause some casualties, some damage. So over to the 3 French brigs to finish off. Okay, so this one's the first one to activate. So it's a battle sails, we'll keep it there. So just going to go 5 to here. And to make a turn. And then it will just go 5 this way, 3 to there, and then just turn that way. And that's the end of it. And we'll stay on this now. So this one here will activate next. So we're going to drop it down to light sails. So just going to make 1 move down to here, and in 1 turn. I'm hoping I've got enough angle I have just to get a broadside up against the frigate, see if we can get some final points of damage. So I'll just come back for that. Actually, unfortunately, that is actually out of its arc of fire, so that's not going to work. So we've got this final brig here, so just come and do that. And again, it's going to drop down to light sails and just make 1 move forward. Just reposition itself, and that can get a broadside. So I've got 1 last broadside to fire at the frigate and see if we can get some final points for the French on the board. We'll come back for that. Okay, so again, 2 heavy cannon, and it is over 10 inches. So again, it's going to be 3s or less to do any damage. Just nothing, no damage there. So that is the end of the game. So I'll just come back for a quick wrap up. Well, I do hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. I do really like this Black Seas game. I say I've only played a few games and really getting into it. Obviously, it's only 8 models on the board, but plenty of action going on. Manoeuvring is obviously very key to this game. I don't normally show movement in my battle reports for Black Powder, but obviously it's quite an important part of Black Seas, so hence why I've been filming it. I really would appreciate any comments on this in terms of particularly on rules. I think I'm getting them right. I'm not playing all of the advanced rules. I'm playing a bit of a mix of the basic rules and some of the advanced rules and some of the options that you get. But there's quite a lot of flavour to this game I can still get into and explore. I've got some other ships on order. I've got some 3rd rates and some 1st rates on order. But clearly getting the wind and getting your positioning right for broadsides, getting in for grappling and boarding actions, didn't really get any of that really. So probably need to think about that a bit more for next game. Crossed the T a few times, which is good. So I've got a bit of damage going on there. Overall, I think it's fairly even actually. I know the British got a bit of an early advantage by the French frigate striking its colours, but obviously one of the brigs was sunk. But clearly, if you are interested at all, I need to give you the results. So the results were the British got 56 points based on the scoring in the book, and the French got 53. So it was a 3-point victory to the British, which I think is pretty fair. To be honest, these brigs were still running around, doing some damage. This frigate chasing after them. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the game. Appreciate any comments down below so I can know whether you actually liked this type of battle report on the channel. Any comments on it, any thoughts, and hopefully catch you all very soon.